On behalf of South Africa, we sincerely thank our hosts for convening this high-level conference, which we welcome as an urgent and much-needed initiative. I convey our warm greetings from His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa, who had other commitments back home following our recent general elections. South Africa and the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan have long-standing fraternal relations born out of a special bond between our founding father, President Mandela, and King Hussein. Sadly, former President Mandela and King Hussein's primary concern then, which was the lack of peace, freedom, and global consciousness on the Palestinian situation, remain what His Majesty and other international leaders are concerned and preoccupied with today. South Africa welcomes the United Nations Security Council resolutions that endorses the three-phase ceasefire and the ICJ indication of the State of Israel in the case between South Africa and the State of Israel. South Africa calls on all parties to comply with the UN resolutions, the UN Security Council resolutions, and the ICJ indication. The State of Israel, as an occupying power, has a duty to allow unhindered access of humanitarian aid into Gaza. This is an international humanitarian law. There should be no exception, and Israel is not above international law. President, we recognize and express our support for the irrepressible role that the United Nations Relief and Works Agency of Palestinian Refugees in the Near Middle East is playing, UNRWA. The Kingdom of Jordan and Egypt have played in delivering aid in Gaza. We further welcome the appointment of the senior coordinator under UN Security Council Resolution 2720 and call on all states to fully support Ms. Sigrid Kaag to implement her mandate. It has been 6 months since the adoption of the UN Resolution 2720, and despite some progress, it remains insufficient as the implementation of the resolution continues to be elusive. The ongoing Israel defiance of UN resolutions and international law is hampering aid deliveries to Palestinians in dire need. All states are bound by international humanitarian law, and we cannot see why others see themselves above international law, like the State of Israel. Accountability must be called for. Furthermore, the Israel Defense Force regrettably continues to intensify its military operations. While we were still reeling from the attack on Rafah, we watched with horror as Nasrallah refugee camp, a designated safe zone, suffered the single worst massacre committed by Israel occupation forces on 8 June 2024. This was an act which we have joined the international community in condemning in its strongest possible terms. In this regard, South Africa is leading international legal proceedings and welcomes the orders by the International Court of Justice to stop the Palestinian genocide currently unfolding. In addition to our ICJ court case, our government has approved a contribution of 50 million rands for humanitarian aid to Palestinians to be channeled through UNRWA. My country has also contributed to a UN Central Energy Fund with the hope that these much-needed contributions will go a long way in assisting the UN and other humanitarian organizations' interventions in Gaza. South Africa supports the efforts by the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court to hold accountable all responsible for genocide and massacre in the Gaza Strip. We will continue to support the humanitarian response in the long term, the reconstruction of Gaza so that Palestinians can live in peace and dignity. South Africa also supports the resolutions that came out today out of the working groups. I thank you.